Following a boycott steady 4-persons year and more than rather than 200 games, thousands of Blackpool fans will herd to Bloomfield Way after on Saturday. The recent period mailman Peter Platt, 56, introduced the arena was for his marriage admission 4-persons year back. With later he's stayed off work on Saturdays and auditory to matches on the wireless, as portion of an unparalleled massive outcry at the way the Oyston household ran the clubhouse. The not a penny more than campaigning saw the Seasiders game up skinny crowds as thousands of fans stayed off. The fans had to suffer the length and painful trial fight among Oyston and Bellicon, says Peter. The wheels of judiciary are a sluggish trial and at times it thick felt love it would never end and we would never get behind to observer Blackpool at Bloomfield Way. But he will be connecting fans at a close sale out the weekend to see the crew, now on the edge of the League One act-offs, get on South End joint. Fans requested to be certainly no cash undertaken at the turnstiles would go to Oyston, 85, and they include now been taking into account the certainty by the radio. A character of the mode changing was the latter remove of within the land of the signs advertisement the property agent industry how done Oyston's luck. I'm so lucky to be behind observer footy, says a impressed Peter, who has purchased a time of year card for the recent 6 household matches of the time of year. The reason of the boycott dates behind to the Crew's bustling 2010-11 time of year in the Prime League, while their mark of offensive soccer saw the Seasiders B-lot fans favourite some Prime League crew. The £90-metre skydiving fee the clubhouse acquired on reduction should include been play-changing but supporters complained it was never reinvested, outgoing a tilt reminiscent the Somme and a learning land how had modified slight with the 1950s blossoming of Blackpool myth Sir Stanley Matthews. While accounts showed Oyston, who was condemned of rape her and concluded for 6 years in 1996, acquired an £11-metre payment, offended fans' complaints were unceremoniously rebuffed by his son Carl, the clubhouse president. While the arena resembled a tomb on matchstick days, the candid president named the boycott a busted breakout. Anglican priest Fr. Damien Feeney utilized to journey more than rather than 200 miles to matches of Oxford, frequently collecting his son in Lancashire on the path. His private boycott began 5 years ago following a gloomy 1-0 destruction at Household to Bournemouth. At that spot the divinity lecture solved late the Sumcha was not an stock option. The wasn't fair a soccer question, he explains. It was a society question, a ethical question. I am so joyful and pride how we include prevailed, following a episode of injustices to Do You Cry? Not each fan united the boycott. A, who did not wish to be mentioned, told, I never stopped departure. My top boyfriend and I requested to supporting the lads, not Oyston. She added, I sense sad for the old man Owen Oyston as he is receive a lot of the accuse for all and it's not very his error, it was Carl as so. Several of those who did not watch the boycott were named scabs on the internet forums. Yet, supporters love Peter Platt, who has friends who include stored visiting matches, include been more than condescending. We had the arguments but at no spot was I always departure to drop out in them, he says. A item you find out while you hit 50 is how lifetime is too brief to drop out above thing as obvious as soccer every to their own, and I sense justifiable in my actions and a slight bit complacent, as I trust I conduct the ethical topland and in a little way helping rid the clubhouse of the owners. I will cry while I come Bloomfield Way, says advocate Deccan Williamson. I include pine to be behind for 4-persons year, but I would include undertaken my position to the serious. He says how his 4-persons year old child is as well frantic to visit. She knows all the chants and has often requested to be undertaken to games, but it has been really hard to explanation to a kid why we cannot come, says Deccan. The pubs in Blackpool are now possessing specific promotions on matchstick days, and a fantasy gown store is though offer every fan a complimentary mandarin-colored paragraph of clothes to carry in the festivity pageant. Guideline the way will be Bobby Mack, 64, who became a banner boy for the protests. Fans chanted, down there's just one Brian Potter, in a link to Peter O'Kay's Invalid Carriage user sitcom Create in the Canal 4 episode Phoenix Nights, while Bobby led a tilt intrusion galloping his portability motor scooter in 2015. The images went viral. "It was mad, I couldn't trust it," says the Scots, who became an adoptee fan while he excited to Lancashire of Air 25 year back. Bobby united the activity following read the speech how landing Carl Oyston in hot water supply in the Fa. "I'm joyful we did it, but now I am very looking striker to back," says the blower, whose life expectancy ban for the tilt intrusion has been raised by the new control at the clubhouse. "I was at the chief of the queuing to buy tickets for the South End play," he says. "The 1 week the seats how were blank for so length were brushed by an troop of voluntary, the identical fans who had stayed off of matches. The clubhouse may be by interim control before a purchaser can be found, but down there is a main changing of sentiment in the society, onto Bobby. The entire city is hum," he says. "It's love while we got in the Prime League."